I mean, having Chad Kelly come back will be a huge ordeal. The other one that I think people have stopped talking about that is very, very good is Montreal, but the problem is, they've lost their starting quarterback. Now he's back this week, obviously. So that'll help. I think with Davis Alexander in there, they're, right up there with Hamilton. The tough part with the Argos is, they lose so many guys from last season, and for whatever reason, especially on the defense. And, even with Chad Kelly back, is that really going to, push them over the edge? And Hamilton is right there. I think Hamilton's up there right now. If I had to pick, my top teams in the league at this exact moment, I would go, the West is pretty dominant. I would go Calgary probably 1, Winnipeg 2. Even though they laid an absolute egg, I would go number 3 was Saskatchewan, and then 4 would probably be Hamilton. 5 would be Montreal, and then it gets a little like Toronto's down there for me. Ottawa's really down there for me. They're probably sitting at 7, 8. So Chad Kelly's got definitely a tough task to get this ship turned around.
With Luke Wilson. So we were talking about this list that came out, ESPN.com. ESPN revealed their top 10 quarterbacks for the NFL season going into 2025. So they polled execs, coaches, and scouts. I don't think anyone's surprised. Mahomes is 1, Allen's 2, Burrow 3, Lamar 4. Those are always going to be the top 4 guys. You could argue who should be. I don't think there's an argument for who should be 1 personally. I think it's clearly Mahomes. But then is it Allen? Is it Lamar? Is it Burrow? You can differentiate whichever way you see it. So those are clearly the top 4. What I found interesting, and I'm curious to get your take on this, they had Jaden Daniels at 5. Daniels at 5. Do you think, as a second-year player, he's prepared to take on that level of expectation?
No, not yet. I mean, I think he's tremendous. I think the future's extremely bright. But, and this is where it gets weird, and, we asked executives and, yada, yada, yada. And I know I believe Stafford was 6.
Yes, he was.
And I'm I don't know many coaches right now that would take, if it was a playoff game, we're going to take Matthew Stafford or we're going to take Jaden Daniels over Matthew Stafford. I know it's a one-spot difference, but it's I look at last year's playoffs, for example, and Philly pretty much rolled everybody except for Stafford and the Rams. And there's an argument when Stafford had that 2-minute drive in the snow, I might add. Okay, a game that with the weather should have heavily favored the dominant run team of Philadelphia. Okay, Stafford goes down, drives the field, and if you watch those last 2 plays back where Jalen Carter makes, 2 huge plays there, it's an identification issue on the offensive line for the Rams. I think if they just blocked that up correctly, it wasn't like he beat somebody. Stafford probably has a shot at knocking off the Eagles. So when I see these lists, I'm kind of man, it's not taking anything away from Jaden Daniels at all. But I'm I don't know. When you use the term NFL executive, who does that entail? Is that a GM? Or is that a front office guy that is in charge of sales? Okay, and that, that's where I get with this list where I'm another one on there that was kind of a bit surprising for me was Herbert, I believe, who came in. Was he 7 or 8?
Yeah, Herbert was 7, Goff 8, Hurts 9, Baker Mayfield 10.
Yeah, and I'm just I look at, take Baker at 10, and it's Baker took the Cleveland Browns to a playoff game, and they beat Pittsburgh a few years back. He gets bounced around a little bit, and he was absolutely on fire, the last 2 seasons, and has really taken Tampa into a very legitimate team. And I'm I'm not trying to take a shot at Herbert. We're what has Herbert really done? I know, he's got some stats here, and the stats say this, and at one point he's 500, and yada, yada, yada. But I'm I don't really watch Herbert and say hey, I'd rather this to go win a game. I'd rather him than Baker Mayfield. I'm not sure. Maybe that makes me insane. But that's kind of why I saw this list. I'm like, I thought it was pretty easy to poke some holes in. The one that I'll say is like the top four are the top four.
Yes.
And you can point wherever you want. I think everybody would probably go Mahomes, Allen, outside of Buffalo fans. And the only reason, not a shot at Josh, the only reason is simply the wins, which is not Josh's fault or not his fault. It's just like it's hard to put Josh in front of Mahomes when Mahomes has this pedigree of beating the Bills in the playoffs consistently. But I think the top four is the top four, and then after that, I thought it was pretty suspect.
Yeah, but I do think there is a big gap. I mean, I guess, I know you love Stafford, and everything you say about Stafford is accurate in terms of he's tough, he wins when he's got weapons, he's got a line. Like, you can make the argument for him at 5, but I wouldn't be surprised, like, if Daniels continues to play the way if he just basically repeats what he did his first year, then I think he'd probably get to a point where he would define himself as the fifth best quarterback. Like, I don't see, he was phenomenal, man, and he was great in the playoffs. Like, what he did to Detroit was wild. Crazy, man.
Wild.
Yeah.
Hayes, I totally agree. I'd like to see another year. Like, for example, I think he was voted but didn't make the top 10. Like, C.J. Stroud, I think everybody would have had, like, oh, he's going to be a top 10 guy after his rookie year. And, like, that didn't come to fruition. Now, he's obviously a top half of the league guy, and I saw Dan Orlovsky was really agitated, that he wasn't in the top 10. And there's an argument for him, sure. But it's like, to me, Jaden Daniels is not 5 yet. He has another year like he just did. He's 100% 5, and maybe he's, depending on how those other 4 do, maybe he's inching into the conversation of being in the Power 4. But it's just not a big enough, sample size for me to be like he's the 5th best guy.
All right. Well, we're getting close, man. Like, camps are opening. We got rookies, I think, reporting later this week. The big boys will be in town before you know it. We're going to have the Hall of Fame game in, 2 weeks? Like, just over 2 weeks, man.
We're here. August is when, end of July is when guys would report.
Yep.
I was out golfing this morning thinking to myself, a couple years ago, I would, stress would be 10 out of 10 because we were 9, 8, 10 days away from showing up to camp where it's blood on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, I'm out here in Uxbridge swinging the stick.
I love it, man. I love it. Times have changed. Welcome to the dark side, my friend. It is a beautiful thing. Just feet up, little golf, staying on land. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Staying on land.
Staying on land. We're land guys. There you go. We connected. I love it. All right, buddy. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good.
There's Luke Wilson, our CFL, NFL analyst.
I just looked this up. How many shark attacks do you think there were in 2024 in the world?